Hi, welcome to the first episode of our unnamed podcast. Half of it got deleted, so this is only the second half, and yeah, sorry about that. This is our first episode, so just yeah.
I mean, it's very easy the way they put the things. I mean, here's this nerd, he is a nerd, and you can see it very clear in here, and then he learns this lesson. It's very simple.
Yeah, that's like what I was gonna say. Is like with all the reboots and reimaginings of the Ultimate Universe, his origin is more complicated and stuff like that. There's different layers to it, and so then when you go back and read the original, you're like, oh, this is like really simple. You know, this is like the basic.
Yeah.
You saw the Sam Raimi movie, but not a complaint. It's just kind of interesting.
So I like the shadow on the first page.
Yeah, he has that big one-page thing. That's cool.
And then, so it moves on to Uncle Ben waking Peter up to go to school. Gosh, Uncle Ben, you're worse than a room full of alarm clocks.
Yeah.
And
Aunt May makes some wheat cakes.
apparently his favorite breakfast.
His favorite breakfast, wheat cakes, which they referenced in Amazing Spider-Man 700.
Yeah.
Not like that. Wheat cakes.
And then Uncle Ben's like, don't fatten up too much, dear. I can hardly wrestle him now. Just imagine Uncle Ben's trying to wrestle with Peter.
Yeah, what if they wrestled after he got his spider powers?
Oh gosh.
He probably beat him.
Okay, so the scene moves on with Peter at school. All the teachers like him, but then he tries to ask a girl out, but it doesn't really turn out too well when Flash Thompson's there and pushes him out of the way. So, yeah, Peter's pretty upset, and he asks some of the kids at Midtown High if they want to go to a science exhibit.
Of course, they say no.
Yeah, they don't want to go nerdy Peter Parker. So he walks away.
Good one.
He walks away. Someday I'll show them salt like he's crying. Someday they'll be sorry. Sorry that they laughed at me. So it moves on to him at the science exhibit where, of course, we all know the radioactive spider and he gets bit. Everybody knows the story.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember now the video from the cinema scenes. Like, oh, a spider bite me. I should go home. No.
oh yeah.
No way.
And I mean, I know this is a comic book, so I mean, I can't really judge its realism, but if this was in the real world and a spider, first of all, it would just die if it got infected with radioactivity, but if it somehow survived and then bit you, absolutely nothing would happen.
Yeah, because it doesn't have enough radiation in it to do anything.
You get more radiation just walking past a microwave. So nothing happens. And how does that work? How does its powers transfer over to him just because it was radioactive?
Well, it's the 60s and everything's radioactive, nuclear bombs, and
Yeah.
everyone got their powers back in the 60s.
No, it sends the Hulk a gamma bomb,
Yeah, and
and then he becomes a
Fantastic
big green
Four.
monster.
Even Stan Lee didn't know when he wrote it, and we don't want to know. We just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, like, in the reboot, they're like, well, we can't do that, and they make it like a cross species.
Yeah, on the first film from Raimi, I think that it was something with the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They show you this sequence that show you clearly the DNA and it completes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a little bit different, but I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s, superpowers, it was all about some kind of radiation, gamma radiation, radioactive spiders, cosmic rays.
Yeah.
Radioactive a truck spotted Daredevil.
I thought that, other than like Thor and the X-Men and Iron Man, I thought every superhero in Marvel gets their powers. Radiation.
So Peter walks out of the science exhibit and he's feeling kind of sick. And then he walks into the middle of the road and almost gets hit by a car whenever he notices he jumps into the air and is clinging to a wall. So, he just casually just climbs up the wall with a kid notices him and his mom won't believe him. So he gets to the top of the building, crushes the pipe of his strength, and realizes that he needs to do something with these powers. He needs to go home and have time to think about it. But then if you look at the caption in the next panel, it says a few minutes later. Well, apparently he thought pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so he's at a wrestling match trying to get some money. $100 to the man who can stay in the ring 3 minutes with Crusher Hogan, which is opposed to like the $3,000 in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which
$100. That's like enough to build. It's like enough to buy one component for one web shooter. I guess it's different in the 60s, but these days.
I really like the part when he's walking down the cable.
yeah.
It really shows how similar to a fighter is.
Yeah.
So he goes into the ring with Crusher Hogan and just beats him in a matter of seconds. And the guy is screaming like, "Oh girl, put me down, you win."
You're not human.
And so this guy, he sees him in the wrestling match, and he thinks that he could use him for. He could be a big or what's the word? He could be a big hit with the and losing my train of thought. So he goes home and makes a costume, and this is where he develops the web shooter. So yeah, pretty cool.
Crackers and me.
So he says he makes it out of wet cement, which I don't think strong liquid cement, which I don't know if that'd be strong enough to actually make webs, but
Yeah, I don't know how that works either. Put something else, stick to something. Cement. They didn't put much fat into it.
So that ends part 1, and then it goes into part 2, where Spider-Man has become a huge star, and he's showing off on TV, and everyone loves him. But then he gets pretty much too full of himself. So one day, whenever Robert robs the place, he lets Robert go, and yeah. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah.
It's
First of all, you want his face. You have a weird expression.
On the beginning of part 2, the webbing looks awful.
have you
When the people's faces and the webbing is just like.
It's like, oh, they just saw someone die. Did y'all notice that the spider on his back is blue, like light blue, and on a darker blue instead of red? It's pretty interesting. And then Peter goes home to his Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and they give him a microscope. And Peter goes back in the show business and becomes a sensation of the nation. And Peter comes home one night to realize that Uncle Ben has been shot and killed. So Peter leaps into action into Spider-Man and goes to the warehouse where the burglar is holed up and beats him up and realizes it's the guy he let go.
Yes. Classic.
This is like the story set up like a Twilight Zone episode almost. Like,
Yeah, with the twist at the end.
yes.
And I don't know if it's like this in your copy, but do you see that Spider-Man, and he's holding the robber, he has like pupils.
Yeah, I have that. It's weird.
Any other panels in one section has pupils. All of a sudden.
One that I'm seeing right now doesn't have it, but I remember reading it before, and yes, it's the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave him a name in Spider-Man 3, Dennis Carradine.
Oh yeah, that was in the game too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the police officer is the first Stanley cameo?
It almost kind of looks like Stanley, but I don't think Stanley looked that old in the 60s. Okay, so...
You can see the future.
Okay, so Spider-Man walks away and realizes what he's done, and Stanley narrates, saying, "And a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware, at last, in this world, with great power there must also come great responsibility." The famous line.
Classic line.
Yeah. But it's pretty funny how Uncle Ben actually never said that in the original comics. And everyone's complaining that he didn't say in the name Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Stan Lee, who said it. Or wrote it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stan Lee.
So, I guess that wraps up Amazing Fantasy 15. Any general thoughts over the issue?
Not much other than what I said because I haven't read that one for a while. So when I went back, I forgot how, simple it was. It was like, because I guess back then they didn't have as dramatic or complex, I guess is a better word, stories as they do today. And so it was very just simple. It's like we all knew his origin. And not much happens other than his origin. There's like no villain. Like in the movies, it has his origin and then like a villain shows up or something. Whereas this, it's just, it's not even how many pages long is it? The story.
It's only 11 pages.
Yeah, so it's not that
I think this
complex. It's just a very simple story, which again, not a complaint, just kind of interesting.
I believe this is the most different superhero origin of any other superhero. I mean, it's so unique. I mean, he doesn't even act like a superhero in this first issue. Otherwise, like in other comics where Superman, he's saving people in the first issue, while in here he's not using his powers to be a superhero. He's using them to get money.
It's interesting that he's technically responsible for Uncle Ben's death. Whereas with like Batman, Bruce Wayne couldn't have done anything about the person who killed his parents.
Yeah, and Spider-Man could have, and that's why he becomes a superhero in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the main difference between Spider-Man and other heroes.
Yeah. Because he even says in here that, I don't remember what the exact line was, but he said, he loves Aunt May, Uncle Ben, but the rest of the world can just go hang for all he cares. And that's how he acts through most of it until the end when he realizes, I have all, I have this power and I have to use it to help people. Unlike Batman, who right away, or Superman, they were like, I have these abilities, I have to do good. He wasn't like that. He wanted fame and money.
Certainly most relatable.
Yeah.
This is what like any normal person who got powers probably would feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, if this happened, like nowadays, maybe some people think, oh, I'll be a superhero.
Yeah.
But before superheroes were a thing, nobody would ever think to help people, really. I mean, maybe a few people would, but most, if they suddenly got the powers of like a spider, they wouldn't think, oh, I can, save people as this. They just thought, oh, yeah. I'm on TV or something.
If a robber just passes you in the face, you will do something.
Yeah.
But besides from that, I think that normal people will just use them for money,
Mm-hmm.
not swinging buildings and saving people.
Mm-hmm.
So, characters that were introduced in this, we have Flash Thompson, of course, and Liz Allen, Sally Averill. She's in a few issues of Untold Spider-Man. It's like she has a long story. Like the girl he first asked out in this, she actually becomes like a superhero or something, and yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much all the introduction of Spider-Man and stuff all in this.
All the main characters, other than J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson doesn't appear in this at all.
No Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane.
Yeah, they don't come until like way later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess that's about all we have. Our thoughts for Amazing Fantasy 15.
What'd you give it up about?
They recommend something Spider related.
Actually, we're moving on to villain of the week, and then the question is great.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much all our thoughts on Amazing Fantasy 15.
What would you give it on like a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't know. I don't think you can get this. This is a classic. I don't think you can give it a grade.
Yeah, because it's like if you just kind of sit back and look at it, it's not like great story. I mean, it is good storytelling, but it's not the best writing necessarily. Like, nah.
I think that now, on our days, it's very simple, but the time that it was published, it was something very different, and it had a huge impact.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you have to appreciate it because of, what a mark it's made and everything, and since it is the first appearance of one of the most famous superheroes. But if you were just going to judge, like, its writing quality, like, if this came out today.
No, if today I write that, nobody knows the Spider-Man. It will become nothing. I mean, nowadays it's just wouldn't work out.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we're talking about how a lot of stuff doesn't make sense today, like, liquid cement and radioactive spiders, and that's why they updated, obviously, for the movies. And, back then, comic books were written pretty much for kids, so that's why it is a little simpler,
Yes.
But I mean, it's still, you have to appreciate, all the things that went into it, and so, I definitely like it. I think it's a good story, but I think almost like the concept is a little better than the execution.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but...
No, yes, that's what I liked about the comic. The concept and the execution is quite simple.
Because, I mean, like, a little later, once, like, I guess Stan's later stories, like, once he started introducing villains and stuff, I like those a lot more.
Yeah, they get really good. Actually, he's a pretty talented writer, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote some really cool stuff, but this is his first introduction. He kind of just did it to get it out of the system, because the publisher, Marvel, didn't want him to do it, because that would be a bad idea for a character. And since this was going to be the last issue of Amazing Fantasy, and it was, he said, I'll just throw it in there and, like I said, get it out of the system. And so, I don't think a whole lot of thought was put into it, and he had no idea that it was going to become so popular. He thought it was just going to be a one and done. But then once he realized how popular it was, he started to do a lot better stories, at least I think so.
This story is probably one of the most important thing in comics. I mean, like, without this story, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
This
for
is-
sure, that's what I
This
say.
comic almost never came out. I mean, it was almost not, approved.
Yeah, I know, that's kind of almost scary to think about.
Yeah, imagine if it was never approved and there was no Spider-Man.
And this obviously would never be happening, but what would our lives be like?
I have no idea.
Look around your room.
So, Spider-Man everywhere.
No posters,
I'd be
no nothing.
a completely different person probably.
Yeah.
But that's how big of an impact Spider-Man actually is. It's more than him being just a superhero. It's more than that. It's
As much as the simple of the comic, this first issue, it has a lot to teach. I mean, we all say that we would be different persons without Spider-Man. Just read this comic and you can learn a lot.
Yeah. So what do y'all think of Steve Ditko's art?
I think it's good. I mean, like I said, I think he's also, similar to Stan Lee's writing, he did some better stuff in the following issues, but, there's a few questionable things, like I said, like, the weird pupils that just pop up for a second, but, yeah, I definitely think it's very good. He's one of my favorite artists to have ever drawn Spider-Man and stuff.
I prefer John Romita Jr. when I read him into the book, but
Yeah.
I really like the art. His art is classic. I mean, he pretty much came up with the designs for Spider-Man and all his villains. He's
Stan was looking for a thinner person, not so much muscle, and he did what he was looking for.
Yeah, I know that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko in the later years have falling out, and they haven't really spoken to each other, I don't think, for a very long time. And Steve Ditko, he never makes any public appearances or anything like that. He doesn't do interviews or anything. He kind of just stays away from everything, which is too bad because it would be fun to meet him one day, but I don't think that would ever happen.
He's pretty much become a recluse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just too bad. Was that all we have to say about it, or?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all that we can say in these 11 pages.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is the villain of the week, who is Swarm. Okay, I have a bio I wrote. Swarm. Alter ego Fritz von Meyer. His first appearance was in Champions number 14, July 1977. Created by Bill Mantlo and John Byrne. His, team affiliations was the Exterminators. Considering he's freaking covered in bees, he should be exterminated. Abilities capable of mentally manipulating the bees that compose his body. Intangibility, flight, and shape-shifting. Yeah, that's pretty much the bio of who Swarm is, what he can do.
Yeah, now I am going to pick this character, and I don't really know why, but when I was trying to think who I want to talk about, for some reason this just popped into my head. And again, I don't know why, because I don't know if I've ever read a comic book with him in it, but I definitely like his origin. I think it's interesting how a bunch of bees, super intelligent alien bees, ate all of him except his skeleton, and somehow also consumed his consciousness and basically formed a living bee body around the skeleton.
And he's a Nazi.
He's a Nazi. It's a Nazi bee man who fights Spider-Man. I think that's interesting. It has like a purple cape and hood. That's a very clever, impossible origin, but I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, he recently had a new version of him was in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which I don't watch, but he made an appearance in there, in which Spider-Man kind of accidentally created him. Like, he was a bunch of little nano spider creatures. It's very interesting, but yeah, I kind of like the character. He looks cool, and it has an interesting origin. But I haven't really read anything with him in it. I guess I know for most is he's in an episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Yeah, and
It's really creepy.
yeah, and he kind of and he like it was weird because that was a little bit different. Like, instead of him, like, they cut out all the Nazi stuff, obviously, so it's a kid's show, and he was basically like an alien invader kind of thing that turned people into bee slaves. But it was kind of interesting.
It's a pretty crazy concept. Freaking Nazis. Just imagine that. Do you think he'll ever be in the movie?
If I ever get to direct a Spider-Man movie, I'll put him in there. I promise.
Just imagine
Maybe
the
he'll be
audience's
like a
reaction.
side villain.
Trying to explain that to the audience.
Yeah.
The closest thing they'll get to our screens is probably a future Spider-Man video game.
So that'd be kind of a cool villain to fight too.
Yeah.
You have a lot of bee stings on you by the end of that fight.
That's Wolverine, you only have to worry about it.
And another thing that's interesting to know is he actually also was a member of the Sinister Six in the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark musical
Yeah,
on Broadway.
That's a weird thing to put on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see the pictures of the costume they used, it's very weird looking.
Does it look like he has bees all over him, or what?
You should Google it. It's kind of strange.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
What?
I'm searching right now.
It's like a sort of ultimate Green Goblin, but different.
Yeah.
Okay. Got all these tabs open. It's taking a long load.
It's a very strange looking.
Yeah. I don't have pretty much anything to say, but I don't know him. I'm being honest.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why I picked him, but I just thought he was kind of interesting.
It's good, but it's interesting to discuss not so famous villains.
Yeah. That's what I kind of think that's why I picked him probably.
Yeah.
Because we could go on for like 2 hours talking about like Venom or something. So it's a little more interesting.
Okay. Is that all we have on Swarm?
I think so.
Okay. So what we're gonna do now is questions from 7yfs.com that people put in. We only have 2 questions because obviously we're just starting and we're not really gonna get that many questions as of right now. So I'm gonna go to the page and read some questions. Okay, so we have a question from MW Game. He asks, which things should happen after the events of The Amazing Spider-Man 2? maybe the symbiote saga.
I think that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We'll probably get the symbiote in the third movie.
Yeah, that'd be a
Or
good
leave
time.
him with Venom spin-off.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking the best way to go would probably be, after the events, what happened. I mean, it's not a spoiler, but I know what happened to Gwen. So, with Peter probably still feeling the loss and anguish and stuff, and the weight of the world on his shoulders, somehow he's going to stumble across that symbiote, and that things are going to happen from there. I can only imagine who the villain would be, though. I mean, he's Parker, Vulture for that, thing like Goblin again, so obviously you're trying to set up the Sinister Six, but
I think the villains in Amazing Spider-Man 3 will be maybe Vulture, which means like a real quick appearance, which means whenever Spider-Man gets the black suit and just Vulture pops out of nowhere and just beats him up real fast.
Yeah, he just sides with him.
Yeah, and then I think maybe his main focus will the black suit be going after Green Goblin because of what for revenge and stuff.
Because from what I'm hearing, Green Goblin only appears in the last 5 minutes of the movie, setting up maybe for the third movie.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm guessing he probably gets defeated. I don't know if he gets locked up or what.
I don't think that I should talk right now.
Yeah. But I mean, if it isn't Green Goblin, then I'm hoping for Mysterio.
Me too.
I think that'll be it.
Either Mysterio. I either want to see Mysterio or Swarm.
I think we'll have maybe a name drop of Mysterio, which will set up into the Sinister Six movie, and then an introduction to Otto Octavius.
Yeah.
And I think Black Cat is definitely going to be in this movie. Felicity Jones, Felicia Hardy, actually getting the Black Cat costume.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the Venom movie is after the Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
So maybe he uses the black suit to help, because he gets stronger and everything with the black suit, so that'll help him defeat 6 villains at once, maybe.
Or,
kind of like in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon.
Or I think Amazing Spider-Man 3 is going to be almost setting up into the Sinister Six movie. But the Sinister Six movie is going to be where all of them come together, and all the Sinister Six come together to show all their origins. And then finally, Amazing Spider-Man 4, if that's going to be the last movie, they're going to have to go off with a big blow, So that's when all of the Sinister Six engage him. So Spider-Man's going to need some help from Venom, which means Venom will probably reluctantly help him because, but Venom is still, he's not completely a bad guy, so he'd probably fight them because they are bad guys. And I think it'd be cool to see Dr. Connors come back and be able to control the Lizard to fight the Sinister Six with Peter, and then Black Cat would obviously be helping too.
Yeah. I'm liking the way this is shaping up. I really do.
Yeah.
I think this has potential to be a lot better than the Raimi movies. Obviously, we've only seen one film so far, but they've already announced so many. It seems like a lot more.
They're starting to get better with fitting extra villains in, giving them the right amount of screen time, and trying to focus on, 1, maybe 2 villains at a time instead of trying to get it's aligning with each movies.
So, is that all our thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I think so.
Before, I would really like that Spidey got some help from Venom, Lizard, and Black Cat. But the idea that he uses the symbiote is pretty good. So
yeah. So, and then our other question, which we only have 2, is from OK Chris. she asks, who's your favorite villain in the Amazing Spider-Man universe so far?
And now, I haven't even seen the movie yet, but I think probably Green Goblin.
Yeah, I'm most interested to see Green Goblin.
I really like how he's looking. I wasn't really keen on the design at first, but I actually do like it a lot now. And
He looks really creepy.
yeah, and the creepiest thing I think is his laugh. You see in the TV spots and stuff. Like it sounds like something from a horror movie, practically. So that would be my pick. Second would probably be Electro, from what I'm seeing so far. But like again, all I've seen at least is the Lizard so far. So
Yeah.
I can't really say for sure until I see the second one, but just from what I've seen in the trailers.
I think Ronnie's mic is muted.
I can.
Is it?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Based off of what I've seen alone, I can't really say for sure until fully see the movie. But for right now, I'm gonna say just based off the look alone and what I'm hearing about Jamie Foxx yelling the character when he's actually Electro himself. I'm gonna say Electro. He's the most intriguing. He's definitely visually appealing and whatnot. So, aside from that, we call over Alicia Stats to it. He's probably top on this right now.
I've seen the movie and I'm going for Electro as well.
Cool. Alright, so that's pretty much let me check this. Now we have the last thing is recommendations.
Alright.
So what do y'all all recommend? I recommend that y'all actually haven't thought about this before. Recording.
I'm the only one who actually has something planned out. Sheesh.
I didn't think of anything. I forgot about this part. But I think that I would recommend the new animated series from 2003, especially because of the ending, the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I wish that would have had a third season. I just instead of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, that's right. That's Spectacular Spider-Man.
yeah, I think I'm gonna recommend Spectacular Spider-Man on Blu-ray. I don't have it yet, but I'm not gonna get that. But the series is so good.
Yeah, I can get it as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend reading the series finale. The last 2 issues to the Superior Spider-Man series, issues 30 and 31, pretty much the end to the Gotham Nation and the end to Otto Octavius' stint as Spider-Man. I know people were kind of worried about, how Dan Slott would write the series as far as, Otto being in Peter's body and stuff. And I'll admit, I was kind of skeptical at first, but now, looking back on it, I'm glad I read all the issues. This was an interesting time to shake up the Spider-Man universe and bring some peace, I guess you could say, peace of mind to the Doc Ock character, make you really feel something for him. Feel like he truly got his redemption in a way. I know nothing's really going to make up for all the bad deeds he did, but
Yeah.
that's definitely one that can really resonate.
So, any other recommendations?
Yeah, well, I have a recommendation which is something that's probably going to be hard to find, but if you can get your hands on it, you've made a very good purchase. It's from the 70s, and are you familiar with Power Records? They were a company that they produced vinyl records. They were, I think, an offshoot of Peter Pan Records, and they basically did like all kinds of like different storybook things and stuff like that for kids. But also, they had a series of superhero records, and they had like Spider-Man, Batman, the Hulk, and a whole bunch of them. But one of my favorites is called Spider-Man Invasion of the Dragon Man. And it's what it sounds like. It's basically Spider-Man punching humanoid dragons in the face. And it's really good. I recommend it. Again, I don't know where you'd find it. I was on like eBay. Because it was like a kind of an obscure thing from the 70s. But my dad had it when he was a kid, and then he showed it to me. And yeah, it's basically just a comic book. It's a little record that comes, it's like a comic book, and you can read it as you listen to it, kind of thing. Yeah, I always liked that when I was young. I thought it was fun. So if you can manage to find it somewhere, you definitely should listen to it, because it's pretty fun.
Okay. Is that all? Or...
Yeah, I think that's it for me anyway.
So, I guess that wraps things up for this week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, next week we'll be back with an entire review of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and we'll be doing a comic review of Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. And, yeah, cover all the news topics that come out from there to then, and, yeah, I guess that's all we have to say.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a little bit better in the future, because we're just starting out at this.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's it. I'm going to end the recording now.